Welcome to Bible Study Together's daily dive into Titus. I'm Peter Schrock, the founder of Bible Study Together and a life and marriage coach at togethertransform.com. Today, we're starting week 1 of our study, and this is the first day. In this video, I will be going over the daily Bible study questions and their answers. Getting started, one of the resources I'm going to be using will be a study Bible. So study Bibles there's so many of them, and I have several of them here. I'm just going to throw up a couple. This one here is an archaeological study Bible. This is a chronological study Bible. And the ones that I like to use more for this kind of stuff would be like the ESV study Bible. There's another NIV study Bible here. But what study Bibles have that is really handy is for every book of the Bible, they have an introduction in them. And so they have a breakdown of the authors. I'm just looking at this one here. The authors, dates, themes, purpose and occasion and background. They usually have some kind of timeline and stuff like that built into it. There's maps and also book outlines and different things like that. So, when you're jumping into a book of the Bible like this, it becomes really handy to have a study Bible because it does a lot of the work for you in terms of compiling some of this information. But also, what it does too is there's a lot of information in there that, would be historical or different things that you wouldn't necessarily know from just even reading the Bible. So this kind of gives you some background and whatnot. And so now that we know that I'm going to be using the study Bible here to get some of this information, let's get started on our questions today. All right, so our first question is, who was the letter written to and what do we know about him? Well, the letter of Titus was written to Titus by the Apostle Paul. We know that Titus was not mentioned in Acts. And so you have to kind of jump around a little bit in order to get the information that we would want to find out more about Titus. So some of the things that we can find out, though, is by reading in Galatians he's mentioned and also in 2 Corinthians. So one of the things that we know from Galatians, it's in Galatians chapter 2, 1 through 3, we find out that he was a Gentile convert. And we also find out that he accompanied Paul on several missionary journeys, including a journey to Jerusalem for a council and stuff like that. Another thing that we know about Titus is that he also was involved in work with the Corinthians. And so, some of the things he was doing in Corinthians, we can read in 2 Corinthians chapter 8, 16 and 17, that he was there helping to collect offerings and different things like that. And then we can also see him helping to resolve issues in the church and stuff like that in 2 Corinthians 7, 6 through 7 and 13 through 15. So that's kind of a general overview of who we know of Titus. Like I said, he's not actually written about in Acts. And so the best thing we have to do is kind of grab some information from other things that Paul wrote, and also some things that we can learn from the book of Titus itself. The second question is, what was his relationship with Paul? Well, from what we know, Titus appears to be a convert of Paul because he calls him his true child in the common faith and stuff like that. So it seems like there's a strong possibility that Paul led Titus to Christ. So that's one thing that we can see from there. And then also we can kind of infer from other passages that he was a close companion and trusted co-worker of Paul because he obviously served as some kind of administrator and leader in the early church. And he was also, like in Titus 1:5, it mentions that Paul was leaving him there to establish leadership within the church at Crete. So there's some information that we have there is that he's basically probably a convert of Paul and stuff. He's probably a leader in the early church and stuff like that, and often worked closely side by side with Paul and traveling with him to help lead and set up the church. All right, the third question is, who do you have in your life like Paul? Well, for myself, we have different seasons in our life. I've had different seasons of my life where I've had different types of Pauls, different kinds of mentors, different people who were encouraging me, guiding me, and helping steer me in the right direction. My parents were people like that very early on in my life and still play that role at times. Also, I've had youth pastors and pastors who I've really trusted and valued their opinion and helped guide me in making some major decisions in life. I've also had college professors that really played a big role in me learning and growing and understanding life. But also during different several seasons of my life, I've also had life coaches and counselors and different things like that play big roles in my life as well, where they've helped me grow, unlocks things, and just even help process through, the things of life and things that I'm learning about. So, we have different people like this in our lives, and it usually comes in seasons. The same person I haven't had just one Paul throughout my whole life. Different points, it's been, one person in a certain window, another person in another window, another person in another window, another person in another window. And, we have these relationships that come and go at times. Some people you have a long-term relationship with, but others, they're short. And that's good too. I mean, either way, we need people who can speak into our life and give us guidance and help encourage us to continue on. Well, congratulations on finishing your first day in Titus. We're just going to keep diving deeper into Titus. And so this day is just kind of scratching the surface and kind of getting an overview of things. But we're going to keep diving deeper and deeper and deeper as we keep going. So, see you tomorrow.